I'm building my megabase floating above the void in the end dimension. And in today's episode of HomeSMP, I want to begin by building my storage room. But before we can do anything, I have a problem. A big floating problem made of endstone. I've located this area at the beginning of the outer end islands near 3 separate end gateways where I want to begin building my base. However, there is a huge island in my way, so let's kick things off by removing it. In between episodes, I set up a beacon with Haste 2, and on stream I began mining away at the endstone. However, I soon realised that the endstone actually isn't insta-mineable, even with the beacon. So therefore, I think I need to look at alternative methods. So the next best thing I think in order to get rid of all of this is going to be to make some sort of world eater or end eater type of thing. I've done a little bit of research and a little bit of prep in a creative world just to try and figure this out. But in this shulker box here, you can see I have a bunch of resources. Now, I don't know how this is going to go. We will try and figure it out together. I'm sure it will be great. As I mentioned, I have set up a beacon, so I am going to try and avoid this little area. So I think it's probably best to go lengthways. I did manage to find a schematic online, which will be able to help us build this, because when it comes to TNT, I don't like to mess around and I don't want to blow up. Okay, I've lost my stuff enough already. We're going to be using this as a way for us to build the farm and make this a little bit easier. I think probably here is a good start, but I think we need to go up. And we'll bring it across to somewhere about here. So in order to get out there, we need to grab a bunch of moss, as that will be an easy bridging tool to get out and back again. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a little bit of a platform, I think, underneath here, just so we can move around a little bit easier and hopefully not fall into the void. Okay, platform in place. I think we can actually start building this. So let me place down my shulker box, grab all the materials. From my testing, I think there is a specific way that we should be building this. And I think we start from the back. So start with this obsidian, lever, repeater at 2 ticks. And this is our main trigger. I do believe now this shouldn't set itself off and blow us up. Let's hope so. We'll bring the wall in. And then place an observer here. Slime block. Up. And around with the sticky piston. And put an observer there. Slime block. More slime blocks. Put our dead coral fans. Walls. Now I'm going to do the TNT last just in case it does actually blow up. How do I do this? Let's go... and observer facing out. We'll put our detector rails down, and then I need to craft a couple minecarts. We'll place that on top of there, that on top of there. Now I believe everything should be sorted, so let's just place a TNT block under here. Get rid of the scaffolding just so it doesn't blow itself up. Okay, and now we actually need to fly to the other side of the island so that we can build the machine that will send it back and forth. Okay, now on the other side of the island, we are going to build the return system. So if we place the obsidian and the repeater 2 ticks with the obsidian on top and the observer. Now, I believe that should be set up and ready to go. So we now have the return system set up. We have the main TNT fly machine set up over that side. The final thing that we actually need to do is to get rid of all of this chorus fruit, because if a piece of falling TNT lands on it, it might blow up the machine itself. So if we just, for safety precaution, just get rid of all of the chorus fruit on this island. Okay, final chorus fruit gone. I am going to grab these shulker boxes, my ender chest, and this crafting table, just in case a stray piece of TNT does fly over here. It might blow it up. So let's just make sure everything is safe and sound. And I think we can go ahead and test this. I think if I pull this lever, it should prime the TNT ready to go. Start sending it that way. We should move Apollo, because this is going to be bad if not. Apollo, you're going to have to go onto a different island for right now. I'm sorry. Well, you'll come back. You'll come back. It's okay. I can't afford to kill another Happy Cast. I've started to get a reputation. Can you see it? No. Oh my god! Oh, I'm gonna cry! I'm gonna cry! Oh, I'm so... Whoa! I wanna give you snowballs, please, before you die. Oh god! Okay, Apollo secured over on the island behind. I think it is about time that we flip the lever. Let's hope this works. Okay, here we go in 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's a flying machine. Now, in order to prime it on the way back, we have to fly over to the other side and wait for the flying machine to get all the way over here. Okay, TNT machine should stay up here and then dock. Perfect. So now, when the fly machine flies back that way, this piece of TNT will be primed. So we've just got to add the piece on the other side, and then it should be good to go. Let's try this one more time. Hey, there we go. We got the TNT working. Okay, it should now start reaching the island and start blowing it up. Oh, there we go. Look at the trail of TNT. Oh my god. Perfect. Look at it go. It is just destroying the landscape. The beauty of this design is that we're going to be able to have it go back and forth between the sending point and the starting point, which means that it should just divide this island up in half. Okay, so here comes the TNT back to its starting point, and it should just automatically fire off back. Let's see. And back it goes, and the TNT was primed, and now we have a TNT machine that will just go infinitely back and forth, splitting the island in half. Okay, so as you can see, it is completely ripped the island in half, and it's kind of scary flying over this now. I'm a little bit worried that my Elytra will die again, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But this is only just a little bit of it. In my shulker box here, I've actually gathered enough materials to make, I think, about 20 more flying machines, so we can just run it back and forth and just kind of destroy this whole island. So I think, without further ado, let's build this and then let's just get rid of this whole island. So, voiceover slime here. I wanted a really nice time lapse of the flying machines just completely obliterating the island. However, this wasn't going to be as easy as it seems. So obviously I built a line of the TNT dupers the width of the island and sent them to the other side so that I could prime them before sending them back again. However, I clearly built them a little bit too close to the island itself, and a few of the TNT pieces blew up like 6 or 7 of the dupers on the way back. So I had to spend some time rebuilding them and sending them back once more. However, they kept blowing themselves up. You can't really see it in the video because I kept pausing the flashback recording, but for almost every journey, 1 or 2 flying machines would blow themselves up, or I would keep rebuilding them slightly wrong, but that's not the point. But eventually I just decided to leave it running and let the Minecraft gods decide its fate while I ordered pizza. Here you can see me actually AFK eating pizza while watching the second Chicken Run movie. But to my surprise, only one of the machines broke during this, which isn't surprising considering it's the one that flew over the end gateway, so I kind of expected it. So finally, I rebuilt the machine, the other side of the end portal, and set it off along with 1 machine from each of the other sides of it, just to clear that final strip of end stone, and manually removing the end stone from underneath the gateway. Okay, so now the whole island has been removed, which is absolutely insane. Look at the size of this place. It is it's going to be a good amount of space for us to get started on our mega base. I also obviously went ahead and removed all of the machines, and to do that I just brought a bunch of moss from Happy Stunt, placed it underneath and got rid of everything. And I also actually decided to brew some potions of swiftness just to actually make placing and removing stuff easier, which actually helped out a lot, and I kind of think potions of swiftness are a little bit underrated. If you're wondering why I ended up using moss, it's just because it is a very quick resource to get that is fairly cheap, and I don't mind if it falls into the void, as it is also insta-mineable with a hoe. So now we have done this section, we've cleared a bunch of space, and I think it's about time we start on our mega base. And to do that, let's hop back into the overworld. So, as we've established very early on in the season, the theme for this series of HomeSMP is Alien. As if you didn't know, I'm a very big fan of it, and this is what this whole overground base is inspired by. I kind of saw it as a kind of iron mining outpost, and that is because in this season, for my mega base, I want to build a big floating spaceship. Maybe more of a space station than a spaceship, but I like to see it as a bit of a hub for all of the freight ships to deliver cargo ready to get sent out into the rest of the universe, I guess. So as you can see here, this is an iron outpost, and the idea is that we would be sending this over to our big space station that we're going to be building in the end. I should probably sleep. I don't get to do much of that now that I'm working in the end. Because we're going to be building that space station, I kind of like to see myself as a little bit of an explorer, but also kind of like a member of the team for some of the freight spaceships, kind of like Ripley in the first Alien film. Hence why I've got this very cool headgear, and we've got all of the futuristic vibes. Obviously, this is going to be a project that's going to take a very long time. So today I want to actually start on the storage room, as this will be the best place for us to begin and set ourselves up for the rest of the season. And in order to do that, we need these guys. Well, maybe not these specific ones right here, but we are going to utilize the new Copper Golems to give us a fully automated storage system. So far in the season, we have just been utilizing this wall of chests here, which has done me so well for so long. However, things are starting to overflow. I've got sticks in my diamonds chest, and it's just absolute carnage in here. So we need to scale this up. So if for the season we're going to be building a space station that has lots of items delivered to it from various little outposts and other areas of our universe, then we're probably going to need a cargo hold, and I think this is the best place to build our storage room. In order to do this, we're going to utilize the crate design that I actually created for my iron shop way back in episode 2, I think it was, and use this as a base to build upon. Inside these crates, I want to have sections for all of the blocks and items in Minecraft, grouping them up into things that kind of make sense. And this is where I've spent a lot of time in a creative world, kind of grouping together a lot of the items and blocks in Minecraft. Obviously, you can see here we have all of the stone items, all of the dirt and grass and kind of natural blocks over here, dyed blocks, including dye itself, some nether and end and ocean kind of related things, all of the wood types, we've got all of the armor and tools and utilities, we have all of the kind of decorations and workstations, we even have all of the copper and all of the ores, we've got redstone, all of the farming items, and then finally as well over here all of the kind of natural and nature blocks. So I've gone ahead and kind of pre-categorized all of these to make things easier for ourselves. So the way that we're going to end up using the Copper Golems is something like this. So the way the mechanics for these little guys work is that they will search inside of a copper chest, take items out, and then search up to a maximum of 10 chests to find a matching item and then put the item inside that chest. So with this setup here, we could use this as a drop-off. They're currently putting slime balls in it, but that's fine. Oh god, they're getting stuck in an infinite loop. Anyway, imagine that this is all boxed in. For the sake of us seeing, I've left it open. If we use this chest as a drop-off, it will automatically funnel through into the first segment. Copper Golems would be standing across the top of these chests. They would pick up items from the copper chest and then start searching through all of these chests to find the matching item. And this is where we have our categories. So imagine this is our wood section. We would have all of our oak items here, all of our spruce items here, birch, and so on and so on and so on. Once we get to the max of 9, we have a empty 10th chest that the Copper Golem can then put the items in that will then funnel out through the hoppers and then into our next section and back into this copper chest, where this segment here will just be infinitely repeating. Now, obviously, to make things a little bit more aesthetic, we're going to use them a little bit differently. And between our storage crates, we will have kind of lines of hoppers or even copper golems to utilize moving them around in a little bit of spaghetti format, just so that we can end up linking things together. In order to get this done, we are going to need a lot of materials. If we fly back over to our shopping district, we can check out our previous crate design and figure out what materials we're going to need. Now, we're probably going to upgrade this, buff it out a little bit, make it a little bit bigger so that we can house all of the redstone and everything to do with that. But as you can see, we're going to need a lot of wax weathered copper, a lot of tuff, a lot of deep slate, a lot of iron by the looks of it, a lot of furnaces and things like that. So I think we should start gathering resources, probably starting with the easiest, which I think will be tuff. Okay, so if we have a look in our storage, I think we actually have a good amount of tuff. Okay, we've got, okay, there's a bit here. However, on the scale that we're going to be working, we're probably going to want more. Yeah, there's a good here, but I think we're going to probably want a few shulker boxes. So luckily, a few episodes ago, we created this mine entrance over here, where if we hop all the way down to deep slate, we should, fingers crossed, find plenty of tuff. If you've ever been strip mining in Minecraft, you will have seen these pockets of tuff laying around, but probably dug straight through them. But today, that is what we're going to be looking for, because down here, down one of these corridors, I can't remember which one, here we go, we actually have a beacon set up with haste 2. If you have haste 2, that actually allows you to insta-mine tuff. But we've still got to make sure that we are going to be in the vicinity of the beacon range. So I'm going to have a quick look down some of these tunnels to see if we can find some pockets of tuff to mine. Oh, perfect. Wait, I think I found a fossil? Now, oh no, I keep breaking it. Don't break it. Don't break it. Is this a diamond fossil or is this just one of those? Oh my god, it's got diamonds in it. Wait, okay, we gotta dig this out. A little sidetrack, but let's dig it out. Let's dig it out. So I think, if I can get out of it, I think it's a skull. I think it's the skull piece. No. Wait, you know what? I have no idea what this is. Let me have a quick look on the wiki. Okay, so I think it's supposed to be it is a skull, but the second smallest skull apparently. But this is kind of cool. We should probably do something with this. But I'm probably going to keep all the diamonds. Just you know, keep it in its natural state. Maybe if we find more fossils, we could just try and rebuild whatever this fossil was, I guess. Anyway, more important things. I need to mine this tuff. Okay, so there we have it. We now have, I think, three and a bit, almost 4 shulker boxes of tuff, which I think should be enough to get us started on the storage room. Hopefully, I don't think it'll be enough to complete the whole project, but it should be at least a start. So in order to move on to our next section, we actually need to think about where we're going to store our items. And this means that we're going to need a lot of chests. And to do that, we're going to need a lot of wood. So there's a few ways that we can get a lot of wood. Obviously the first being chopping down a bunch of trees. However, a few episodes ago, I created this tiny little bamboo farm in my basement, which has just been kind of churning away and auto-crafting bamboo blocks. Which means that combined with the stuff from upstairs, I think we should try and see how many chests that we can actually craft with all of this in one go. Okay, so I managed to get just over 10 stacks of chests, which I definitely think is going to be enough, or at least a good start. However, we're actually also going to need a lot of hoppers, which means that we're going to need a lot of iron. Now, I'm running a little bit low. Let's go quickly see if we've got anything upstairs in the farm. I haven't really been AFKing recently, so yeah. Oh, okay, 2 stacks. 2 stacks is a start, but that definitely is not going to be enough. So since the start of the season, when I built this iron farm, it's been churning away and it's been helping me out quite a bit. It's just a 2-module zombie villager farm that spawns iron golems and sends them down. However, I think we're starting to outgrow this farm and we might need to create some upgrades considering that we also have an iron shop at spawn that is constantly sold out. Actually, we should probably go check if there's any more iron in the shop. We might be able to steal it. Okay, so let's have a quick look and see if we've got anything in stock. Oh, okay, we've made a few sales. As you can see, it just sells out so far. So I definitely think that we are going to need to upgrade our iron making system. And in order to do that, I think we need to go to the end. Oh, wait. Oh, that's pretty close. Okay. Oh, it's my copper shop. Okay. Anyway, to the end. Okay, so as we remember in the previous episode, we mapped out the end, including the center island and the outer islands. And I have already actually found the perfect spot for my iron farm, which is the gray station, which is actually located right behind the map. So if we just fly through, it should take us out to the outer islands. And if we fly over here, this is about the location that I would like to build a huge iron farm. So I think if we just do a quick little, and there we have it. We now have our massive, great big iron farm. I'm not gonna lie, I wish it was as easy to make and set up as it was to do that transition, because my God, that took me a very long time from building the whole thing to transporting the villagers to the end on stream. Go on, get in the car, go, get in the car. No! No! Come here, you stupid little man! To then creating both of these villager breeders in order to populate each floor, and of course, then getting all of the zombies as well. So as you can see, the iron golems are falling down. We have 3 different layers to this, each with 8 modules in each floor. So as you can see, it is just producing quite a lot of iron golems. And yeah, it took me a very long time to get this all sorted, but I have actually spent a night AFKing already, and wow, the difference that it makes compared to the one in the overworld is just insane. Look at this. I got over a double chest of iron blocks. There was some stuff in the hoppers. I did also AFK a little bit more as well while I was at work. We have so much iron. Oh, okay, they're already going. We got another bunch through. This thing is extremely effective and I absolutely love it. So yeah, I think we can just go ahead. If we just go ahead and take a few of these, that's probably way too much, but I clearly have enough already. And if we just head back to the overworld, and then we can craft up all of our hoppers. And now that we have all of our chests and all of our hoppers made with the iron farm complete, we can turn our attention to the final material that we're going to need in bulk, which is, of course, copper. Now, there are various ways of getting copper in Minecraft. You can obviously go caving for it and find it naturally in the world and fortune it and smelt it up and everything to do with that. However, that's probably going to take a really long time with the amount that I'm going to need, and I would have to age it all by hand. That is because over time, copper actually weathers. Now, you often find copper in this state, which is just its normal state, but over time, it can eventually become its exposed version, then into its weathered version, and then finally into its oxidized version. This is how you get the 4 different stages. Now, obviously, as you can see around the base, we go for this weathered version. And in order to optimize oxidization, you actually have to place these copper blocks 4 blocks apart from each other. Otherwise, they take a very long time to age. That is because in the code, they look for other copper variants within a 4x4 radius. And if there is, then it takes longer to weather. Now, that is a very annoying thing to do, and we want to cut that out altogether. Another way of getting copper is actually by killing drowned. Drowned actually have a chance of dropping a copper ingot. Now, there are loads of different ways within Minecraft that you can create drowned farms. You can submerge zombies underwater and then kill them. But again, the rates are just going to be a little bit too low. And with just building that iron farm, I don't think we need to bother with that, because actually, thanks to the Minecraft Tricky Trials update, they have introduced an easier way of collecting copper. And that is actually through trial chambers. Inside the trial chamber, 2 types of copper spawn, which is the most oxidized and the normal, so you can collect this one, or if you would like any of the other variants, what you're able to do is hit it with an axe, and actually de-age it to the state that you would like. So in our case, I actually did one too many. We actually want it like this. So we have to go out into the world and actually find a trial chamber, but it obviously comes with its own risk because there's all of the spawners. So I think we should probably prepare a little bit, and let's hope that we can cheese the trial chamber a little bit and just go to farm the copper. Okay, so I think I've got almost everything ready to go out for a hunt for trial chambers. But there are a couple final things I need to do, and that is fill up my trading box with pumpkins, because we are actually going to need some villagers to help us find the trial chambers. We just pop over here, grab some pumpkins, and just fill up the rest of these spots. And there we go. Shulker box is fully stocked up, and now we just have to fly to find a village. Now, I think we're probably going to have to fly a little bit far out because I imagine a lot of the trial chambers around here have already been ransacked. Let's head west. Actually, on our little pit stop, we are actually going to take a little short retreat here at Amethyst Emmy's base because she has a bunch of farmer villagers, which will give us more emeralds. Emmy, if you're watching this, I'll give you home coins if you want. Anyway, we just grab a few of these melons and pumpkins and let's trade with all the villagers. Okay, so I believe I have maxed out all of these trades. Let me just double check. I've run out of melons and okay, perfect. So that gave us a good amount of emeralds, 4 and a bit stacks. So that will definitely be enough, especially combined with what we have already. So let's put this back in here and continue our travels west to find a village. Okay, coming up to village number 1, which I actually think this is the village. It is. This is the village where we found Jonesy at the very beginning. Oh, that's quite nice, full circle. So from what I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, trial chambers have the most chance of spawning near villages. Now, to find the exact location, you can actually buy a map from a cartographer villager that will take you directly to the location of the trial chamber. So I have a couple cartography tables in my inventory, and now we just got to find somebody that doesn't have an occupation. You're a nitwit. I mean, I guess I can do you. And let's place down that. And will you take up the cartography role? Yeah. Okay, so I think we are actually going to have to level this guy up. I think 2 slots for hopes that he will have the trial chamber map. So let's see. What do you got for me? A swamp explorer map. Okay. Okay, we've now maxed out the empty map trade, so I think we should probably try this glass pane trade, and that means that we are going to need a lot of sand. So let me just run around here and grab as much as possible so that we can level him up. Okay, so now that I've crafted the furnaces, we're going to need some fuel for it. So I am just going to cut down a few of these trees to make some charcoal so that we can smelt the sand into glass. Okay, we have some glass, so let's now turn it into glass panes. And where's he gone? Buddy? What are we doing over here? Okay, let's trade as many as we can and level him up and hope that we can get the trial chamber trade, fingers crossed. Yes! Oh my god, we got it. Okay, we actually... Oh, we need some compasses. I didn't think about that. Okay, what makes this more annoying is that I don't actually have my redstone shulker box in my chest, which would have made this a little bit easier. So I think we might have to fly back and get a few compasses. Okay, now we are back at the village with a couple compasses, and also I made sure to put my shulker box in my ender chest, so we should now have access to more if we need. But where's my guy gone? Here you are. Right, give me this. Yes, please. Yes. Okay, let's see. Where are we? Okay, so it's south. Okay, let's pack up our things and get on our way. Okay, so it doesn't look like it's actually too far. I think we've got to go southwest. Yes, okay, perfect. So it's somewhere over here, a little bit more south. And it is right around here. It should be directly below us. So what I'm going to do, place this down, place a bed, just in case anything goes wrong. Now we are just going to dig down. We're going to avoid the first rule of Minecraft and dig straight down, but with our wings, we should be able to catch ourselves if anything does go wrong. Okay, we've hit bedrock. It's definitely correct. So whereabouts is it then? Let's dig up a bit and then maybe dig around and see if we can find it. Oh, tough bricks. Perfect. Oh, okay, we're going straight into a room. Okay, so we have made it. It's just for safety, just in case we need to get down. Put a piece of water here. And let's just clear our inventory. Okay, inventory cleared. Let's put on our armor just in case. And what we want to do is try and block our line of sight with any of the spawners. Okay, so there's 3 directly in the middle. Okay. Okay, I've now blocked one of them. Let's head up. Okay, that is 2 blocked off. And then with these blocks, that should be all of them blocked off. Perfect. Okay, we have a couple of escapees. Let's just take care of him. Okay, so as you can see, we have now blocked up all of the spawners and covered them all so they won't be able to see us and trigger again. So now we can get to harvesting all of this copper. So if we just put our axe in our offhand, and as we go around, we just scrape back the copper to the weathered stage, and then we can just pick it all up. And we should have plenty of copper to build our storage room. So let's go ahead and gut this place, shall we? Okay, and with that, just after a few rooms, we have got a full shulker box and more of weathered copper. So all we've got to do is head back home. We'll put our elytra back on and we can wax this stuff up, ready to build our storage room. Standing here on top of all of the shulker boxes for this build is kind of insane and very daunting, and I think it will be quite a nice moment to maybe look back at where we started this episode. It's crazy how there was a whole floating end island here that we just started to mine out by hand before whipping out the redstone box and completely decimating the floating island with TNT flying machines. It's quite insane, kind of the void that it's been able to create. But to then going off to actually collect all of the materials inside of these shulker boxes, as you can see, a lot of the tuff has actually gone to good use, as well as the chests and the hoppers and everything. All of this side is literally just smooth stone, and I'm not even building the full thing today. It's kind of crazy, but I think without further ado, I think we should just jump into it and actually just start building it, because I think this is going to take me a while. Okay, and welcome back, everybody. We now have, oh god, those guys in the way. We have finished our storage room. Well, not 100% finished. There's obviously still a lot of work to do because this place does not have walls and a roof and a door and everything, as you probably saw from the time lapse. But the storage room itself is built and up and running and functional. So let's have a little look around. Obviously, starting off in the time lapse, you can see that I started with the floor. There are 2 layers of stone here. The first just to prevent any gravel or any other kind of gravity blocks that I was using to texture the floor, stops it from falling into the void. I'm quite happy with the texture. I think it looks quite nice, pretty subtle, but obviously we have our main kind of pipes and everything running down the middle with this like warning tape. I don't really know. I thought it'd be quite cool to include. And then obviously each side we have our 2 main segments for the storage room. So starting off over here at the end, this is our input area. So we have our shulker box unloader here. We have our empty shulker boxes that come out here, or we can just dump all of our items into this chest here. And what happens is that all gets funneled through and up this dropper chain into the starting of the thing, which is that copper chest over there. So if we run around, you can see that we have used the same design as the iron shop with the crate, but with the actual ones with the redstone in, you can see they've actually gotten a little bit bigger. So they're very much a similar design, just slightly modified and slightly bigger so that we can fit all of the chests and the redstone in. So what I've been able to do is actually hide them inside by combining a bunch of the chests together so that we can kind of create a hopper chain that goes all the way down and through in order for us to actually get everything sorted by the copper golems. So this is our first segment, which is our wood section, which as you can see, we have all of the wood types along the top, including mushrooms, and then also some extra little wooden bits at the end. And the way that this works, as you could see before and we've explained, is that the copper golems check this copper chest, which is the one where the items funnel up in. They will then collect the items, search through all of these chests for remaining stuff, and if nothing else, they will go into this double chest, which literally just has hoppers connected and funnels through into the next segment. So you can see they're split into 2. Now these chests are what acts as our filters. So as you can see in the back, we have some redstone that just locks and prevents all of the items from draining out, which allows us to actually create a stockpile of items inside of the single column. So anything bamboo related will go down this chute, and we have a bunch of kind of filler blocks as well, because the moment that you put extra items into here, they start to fall out. Now what's great about the copper golems is that when they see something inside the chest that matches the item that they're holding, they don't actually fill up the stack. So let's just say that they had some bamboo, for example. When they go to put it in the chest, what happens is they actually put it into this first slot here, which slowly drains away, not actually combining with this stack here, which is what actually allows us to have the filters and stay the filters. So as you can see, they go all the same with the mangrove and the cherry and so on and so forth. And then once it gets to the end of here, it moves into the next crate, which I have set as my dye station. So as you can see, very similar layout. We have the copper golems collecting from the chest, search the chest along the top, and then go put in the end. If you're wondering, the vines are here to try and stop hitbox collision. I thought that would work. However, it doesn't seem to be working that great. I thought they'd be able to kind of phase through each other, but sometimes they get stuck on each other when they're walking back and forth. But I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue. But as you can see, it funnels through into our next section over here, which is all of our dirt and stone and kind of those types of blocks. And all that happens is that it funnels through, turns a corner here with these hoppers here pointing into this chest to then divert around the corner and then continue along this way. And as you can see, again, everything is set up correctly. Some of this stuff I don't have enough for to fill up the rest of the chain, but it'll be fine. But yeah, you can see that everything is filtered properly. Each section has their own category of items. So in this one here, we have the copper, redstone, as well as all of the kind of shinies and the, all the good stuff. But we actually have a problem here because we need to get items from this side of the storage room over to this one. So as you can see, this is the chest where the copper golems will put anything that they cannot filter. And right now it's hooked up to nothing because we actually need to get this all the way over to this side into that copper chest there. Now, I don't know if I really want to do just a big long hopper chain running all the way along. I feel like it would be quite visually quite distracting, and I don't think it would make sense if we're moving all of these big crates around that there would just be kind of a line along here of items flowing around. My other thought was maybe to bring it down and underneath and then back up, which I think might be the better option. But let me know what you guys think in the comments, because I would really love your suggestions on this, as I'm not 100% sure on how to do this. But Over this side, we start off with all of the decoration blocks, and then into the nether related blocks, and then into kind of the other dimension type things and biome and, you know, all of those sorts of stuff. Then what happens in order to get the items from this side all the way over to there is that we actually do have another little copper golem that acts as a hopper chain. So these guys will output any items into this empty chest, which funnel into this chest, and then this guy will actually walk all the way around and start the system up again. So it just means that I don't have to have a bunch of hoppers running along, and a copper golem can essentially move the items for me. So in here we have all of our nature blocks and our food and everything like that. And as you can see, I also have a bunch of crafting stations in each of them. And then finally over here, our big one, which is right towards the end, which is all of our kind of utilities, all of our armor and tools and weapons and everything like that flows into all of this lot. And then again, we have a final little guy over here that just picks up the items and puts them down into our final crate, which is the more annoying one, I guess you could say, because if items will actually travel all the way around and into these chests, it means that I've not set up my filters correctly. So what I've done is that if an item is unfiltered and comes all the way down through here, what happens? We get a really loud bell sound, which indicates that we need to sort out our filters. Otherwise, I'm probably going to forget about it. So this is, okay, I'm going to stop it. That's that way of me reminding myself that I need to come and fix my filters. And then just over here, this doesn't connect to anything. If we just need extra overflow or extra storage for stuff, we have some stuff here as well. Alongside that, I've just added a bunch of extra decoration. So alongside, obviously, the larger crates, we also have the smaller ones, as well as some tiny little square ones. These are similar to the ones that we have at our base in the overworld, and even some larger ones as well. I really wanted to create some visual difference between them all so that it just doesn't look the exact same all the time, and there's lots of corners and shadows and shapes and everything like that. So pretty happy with that. Of course, we have a few more drones and bots and everything. We have our mech suits as well over here, as well as just some random antennary bits. I think once I build up the walls and the ceilings, all of the decorations will become a little bit more cohesive, as right now I just kind of wanted to fill out the space so you lot can have an idea of what I was going for. What's the good just talking about it all? Let's actually put it to the test. So in here, I have a shulker box of just a bunch of random stuff. If we put our shulker box in here, it should get placed and then begin draining, and this will trigger our chain and start putting stuff inside of this copper chest. As you can see, these guys have already started to pick up items and begun looking for the correct space to put them. So obviously right now we're going to funnel through all of the wood chests, all the way through into the dyes, then into the nature blocks, and finally into stone and everything like that. I think they're currently holding moss, which actually is going to take them a little while to figure out. So they're going to get all the way over to here and then place the moss in here. I have actually tested this briefly with all of the leftover materials that I had from building this, and threw them in as a test, and it does seem to work. So hopefully it should be all right. As you can see here, there is lots of clicking and lots of movement going on. One thing that I have done is that I've installed this mod here, which actually allows me to control the volume of every single individual sound in the game. So what I've done is that I have specifically turned down the volume of the copper chest weathered open and close, which means that the copper golems are slightly quieter for me, which is quite nice. But yeah, I am actually really happy with this storage room. It's taken quite a lot to do and quite a lot of resources. I feel like this is one of the bigger builds that I've ever done in one sitting, especially when we take a look back at the very beginning of the episode with how much we've progressed and how there used to be a giant end island exactly where we're standing, and we've completely destroyed it all, removed the island, and then started to build our space station on top, which I am super excited about. Another thing that I would love to know your opinion on is to what to do about these guys. Now, obviously, they're pretty harmless to me right now. However, they do get in the way, and especially when building, they are very annoying. Now, I have two thoughts on how to get rid of them. Similar to how an ender works, is that they use an endermite to draw all of the endermen into one spot and then kill them off, or we'll drop them into the void or things like that. Don't know whether to have various ones of them running around, or the alternative is to actually make a mob switch here at my base, which will just prevent all spawning of anything inside the end. Now, this will work pretty nicely because it should only be on when I am at my base, which means that if anybody needs to use the ender or go out to the end, all I have to do is just unload these chunks, and then enderman and everything else should spawn correctly. So I'm not really sure what to do. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I would really appreciate that. I've never done a mob switch. I'm kind of scared to do it. So if you guys have any other ideas, please do let me know. But apart from that, I think that is where we are going to have to end the episode. We have done quite a lot today, and it's kind of insane the amount of work that we've put in, but I am very excited to get this finally edited and out to you lot, so I can get all of your feedback and your thoughts about the base so far. But yeah, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as I would really appreciate it. If you aren't already, make sure to join the Discord as well, and you can become an official SlimeLink community member. Other than that, I think this is where we can wrap up the episode. My name has been APuzzledSlime, this has been HomeSMP, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye!